Mr. Acting Speaker, I have heard from the Attorney-General today the greatest load of piffle that I have heard from an attorney. An attorney who I must say at least demonstrates the courtesy to respond to legislation within his portfolio. Many of those the executive government would send a lackey down and not show their face, but the attorney has certainly the courtesy and the ethics to respond. The attorney is a person who's highly regarded by many on this side of the House. He was well trained as a barrister. He read with an outstanding public defender when he first came to the bar. However, whatever he learnt from me is obviously worn out in his contribution to this House in respect of this bill. I certainly welcome a concession by the member for Epping that the bill by the member for Liverpool is a good idea. I welcome that concession, but he has sought to, like the attorney, discover reasons to do what in the New South Wales Parliament members of Parliament refuse to do, and that is actually be legislators and consider bills on their merit. I mean, as one member happened to say to me privately, Ron, dream on, just a short minute ago. But I would like this House once in the 5 years that I've been here to at least consider a bill on merit, irrespective of who proposes it, and at least make some contribution to a bill in the interests of the people of New South Wales and not find ridiculous reasons to comply with the standard political operation in New South Wales, and that is, unless it comes from the government, it is no good. So I heard the member for Epping say there needs to be some consultation and discussion with agencies about what the member for Liverpool is proposing. I just want to remind the House, Mr. Acting Speaker, that it was February of 2015 when the Privacy Commission, the New South Wales Privacy Commissioner, under Section 61B of the Privacy and Personal Information Act, recommended this change at Recommendation 10. That the Act be amended to provide a mandatory notification of serious breaches of an individual's privacy by a public sector agency similar to that proposed to be provided in the Privacy Act 1988 Commonwealth. That is 3 years and 2 months ago. For 3 years and 2 months, the government have had every opportunity to consult with every single agency it wanted to. It's known for over 3 years that there are substantial failings in the legislation. The Principal Act has existed before iPhones, before social media, before privacy and the ability to disclose sensitive information in the way in which it can be now existed. So you would have thought 3 years was enough time to a government that's actually really in control. And I think maybe the member for Epping had a responsibility before he was the member for Epping to even consider this in his former occupation. Now, I would have thought that's enough time. The member for Liverpool gave notice of this bill in November of last year. It is now April. In 5 months, if the bill was a good idea, as the member for Epping conceded, you would have thought in the last 5 months the Attorney-General and the entire resources of the Attorney-General and Justice Department could have run around their agencies and got some input about the value of this bill and what the cost might have been. So what have they done in 5 months? Nothing. Because, as far as this government is concerned, any view that comes from the opposition, any idea that comes from the opposition, any bill that comes from the opposition gets knocked over, doesn't matter how good it is. And they've done nothing. Now the attorney says, oh, well, we're going to go and do a consultation process. Well, what have they been doing for 3 years while people's privacy has been seriously eroded? The fact of the matter is nothing. Absolutely nothing. And in the intervening period, since his shadow attorney first moved this bill, a member for Epping wants to know what examples are, there has been a report by the Auditor-General only a month ago on the 2nd of March 2018. And the Auditor-General said this, and I will read this onto the record because neither the attorney made reference to it Neither did the member for Epping, who wants to know why there's a hurry. Well, there's a hurry because you guys have done nothing in 3 years, and the Auditor General has exposed you and exposed major problems in relation to the privacy legislation. And this is what the Auditor General said. There is no whole of government capability to detect and respond effectively to cybersecurity incidences. There is limited sharing of information on instances amongst agencies, and some of the agencies we reviewed have poor detection and response practices and procedures. There is a risk that instances will go undetected longer than they should, and opportunities to contain and restrict the damage may be lost. Given the current weaknesses in New South Wales public sector's ability to detect and respond to instances need to improve significantly and quickly. Now, you know, at the end of the day, don't have the Attorney Generals jump up here and say after the matter's been drawn to his attention and his predecessor's attention for 3 years that they need to go and engage in consultation when they've done nothing. Don't have the member for Epping stand up and say you don't need to do it quickly when you've got the Auditor General telling you to do it quickly. And if you want to know where the bill comes from, the member for Liverpool hasn't pulled it out of his large intestine. He's actually proposed a bill that mirrors the Commonwealth provisions, which the Commonwealth itself has enacted. So at the end of the day, it's not some sort of magical set of words produced by the member for Liverpool. It's currently part of federal legislation. And the only effective difference between the federal legislation and this bill is this bill provides to New South Wales statutory organisations, where the Commonwealth Bill also provides for larger corporations. The New South Wales Constitution doesn't enable this Parliament to legislate for corporations. So the issue is a significant one. The Auditor General has told you to act quickly. Don't come in here and find reasons not to implement it. And the only other thing I want to add to the Attorney General's pretty poor contribution, bearing in mind he's known about this bill for 5 months, is if he wants to argue about the wording or doesn't like a definition in the bill, where's his amendment? Where is his amendment? He's spoken to the member for Liverpool in 5 months about maybe changing the bill or agreeing to an amendment, or if he doesn't want to do that, where is his amendment to propose a change? Where was the Attorney's response to the observations by the Auditor General who tells him to act quickly? There is none. This bill, the government's attitude to this bill is the way in which politics operates in New South Wales, and that is that if it comes from the Labor Party, it's no good and we just knock it over. Now, so there's some pretty eminent people on the government side of the House. I mean, the member for Ku-ring-gai is a pretty eminent, an eminent silk. He can read a bill and make a contribution. I mean, the public in New South Wales, to protect their privacy, needs more than just a concession by the member for Epping who thinks it's a good idea. It actually needs a genuine contribution from people like the member for Ku-ring-gai, who can read a bill, who can understand a bill, who knows the government have been sitting on their big fat backside for 3 years and 2 months with a recommendation from the Privacy Commission, and for once, under the New South Wales Constitution, be a legislator and make a contribution to a bill on merit rather than just simply on the basis of knocking it over because it's come from the member for Liverpool as a member of the Labor Party.
I'd like to thank the member for Hefferon. We're hearing the